Hey guys, it's finally time to find out what your good old Tony thinks of the long discussed Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And don't worry, I'll keep it spoiler free for the ones who haven't seen it yet. Okay, let me start with one sentence. I don't think it is the greatest movie of the year. Please wait, let me explain. First of all, I've watched the movie not once but twice in the last couple weeks. Hopefully this counts as a proof that, yeah, I did enjoy it. If there's one thing that this movie is not, that's boring. I mean, seriously, how can you just look at the beloved FNAF crew on a big screen without having a freaking good time? I mean, if you're a fan of the games, if you love FNAF and you know everything about its crazy universe, this is a big little treat. On the other hand, if you see it without knowing anything about the game, or you expect the thrills of a solid mature horror film, then you'll most likely be disappointed. I'm obviously deeply attached to the animatronics, so my judgment is necessarily partial. But I'm also a huge horror cinema fan, so I must admit that not everything in this movie works. Let's start with the good points. The movie itself looks incredible. All the details that the art department put in the background, just amazing. The pizzeria looks exactly as you'd love to see it in a theater. It's perfectly reproduced, the colors, the furniture, the lights, and it gets all the popcorny vibes of an abandoned pizza place from the 80s. And then, the animatronics. The Jim Henson team really did an outstanding job. The suits were so real that they seemed fake. Well, yeah, it sounds like a paradox, but you get the idea. They were so perfect you'd almost think they were CGI. And they act beautifully, I mean according to Killer Robot standards. Nothing like the obvious mascot-like costumes from the Banana Splits movie, and better than the decent ones from Willy's Wonderland. The cinematography is a little average, but fits the Halloween movie looks the movie is supposed to have. The music is fun, I love the pop rock songs they used. The sound design is neat, the editing works pretty fine, the actors are okay, even though Matthew Lillard steals the scene every time he's in. But there is one big thing that's flawed: the script. And the lack of creepiness. Okay, that's two things. The story goes quite well if you're aware of the game's storyline, but most of all if you're okay with the unsettling craziness of the original and complicated narrative. The problem here is that the movie is a completely different kind of medium, especially when you deal with the first official movie based on pre-existing material. I mean, when you write the script of a movie that's going to be shown in the theaters all around the world, you must start from the idea that not everyone in the audience is a fan. Not everyone will follow the developments with the same enthusiasm of a fellow who grew up with the games. The script tries to find a middle way between the awareness of the aficionados and the neutrality of those who are just looking for a regular horror movie. There are too many elements that are not well explained, and the general mood is constantly uncertain about the right direction. Should it be a blockbuster horror flick for everyone, or should it be a plaything for worldwide fans to enjoy? In both cases, the taste feels a little incomplete, also because the ensemble doesn't feel as creepy as it probably should. I mean, if Scott wanted to introduce an average cinema audience to his own extravagant and weirdly dark universe, the basic movie storyline sounds a little too cliched to be acceptable, making all the weird stuff and strange twists look like senseless and incongruent plot devices. There are just too many things going on. The lucid dream, the possessed robots, the strange policewoman, the ghost children, the drawings, the surprise villain. The ending felt rushed with so many elements to be put together. While regular fans would find all of this entertaining at best or redundant at worst, all the other fellows would just raise an eyebrow or dislike the whole package. I think that the makers should have focused more on a few elements and write a well-structured script around those, even making the movie shorter. And you know, maybe shoot a sequel back-to-back already, introducing all the other elements and making the narration smoother. But again, I'm super happy that the movie happened. The experience can be summed up in one single word: fun. This movie is fun. It got me a great Blumhouse time during both of my viewings. The producers knew that 90% of the audience would come from the loyal fanbase, and they did exactly what the fans would enjoy. It's quite possible that the bad reaction from the professional critics was taken into account from the very beginning. But still, from a marketing point of view, it was a huge success, and I can't wait to get it on Blu-ray as soon as it's released. I wish it was a little scarier, or maybe it's just me. I'm an old man by now. There were teens in the theater who were kind of terrorized during all the jumpy scenes. To summarize, not a great horror film, but a wonderful gift for the fans. What do you think? Do you agree with my thoughts, or do you think I'm missing something? Let me know in the comments, I'm very curious to read your opinions. Bye guys, thanks for watching.